Hello students, myself Vishwati Gurji. In the previous class we have discussed about the gastrulation process, in which we have known how the three germ layers are being formed, such as ectoderm, mesoderm and the endoderm. Today we will discuss our new topic, that is the extraembryonic membrane. Before starting our topic, I want to ask you a question: which cell of blastocyst form the extraembryonic membrane? Then the answer is the trophoblast cells. Okay, so now we'll go to the topic, the extraembryonic membrane. First point, the proper definition of the extraembryonic membrane is: it is an membrane. An extraembryonic membrane is a kind of membrane which surrounds the embryo inside the mother uterus. First point, an extraembryonic membrane is a kind of membrane which surrounds the embryo inside the mother uterus, or we can simply say mother's womb. So the first point, the proper definition: extraembryonic membrane means what? Embryo which is covered by a membrane. Embryo which is covered by a membrane. So the definition is: an extraembryonic membrane is a kind of membrane which surrounds the embryo within the mother uterus. Second point, it is in case of the in the case of common human being, or in case of mostly mammals, it is often called as fetal membrane. Second point, it is often called as fetal membrane. Okay, next point, what are the various types of the extraembryonic membrane? So basically there are four types of extraembryonic membrane: chorion, amnion, allantois and yolk sac. Types of extraembryonic membrane. Basically there are four types of extraembryonic membrane: chorion, amnion, allantois and yolk sac. Chorion, amnion, allantois and yolk sac. Understood? Now the fourth point, in the case of vertebrates, on the basis of presence of amnion, the vertebrates are broadly divided into two categories. One is the amniote, other is the anamniote. On the basis of presence of amnion, vertebrate is broadly classified into two categories. Okay, one is your amniote, other is your anamniote. Simply, if amnion is present, then in that case vertebrate is known as amniote. If the amnion is absent, then if the amnion is absent, then the vertebrate is known as an amniote. Okay, first point. if in the case of amniote, amnion is present. Okay, in the case of amniote, amnion is absent. Second point, amniote includes apes, reptiles and mammals. Amniote includes apes in what? Birds, reptiles and mammals, or in common case, in our case. But the amniote includes the fishes or the pisces and the amphibians. Okay. So far now we have discussed 4 major points under the extraembryonic membrane. Extraembryonic membrane is a kind of membrane, we can say, which surrounds the embryo inside the mother uterus or mother embryo or the mother womb. It is often called, in case of human being or mostly mammals, it is often called the fetal membrane. Third point, there are basically 4 types of extraembryonic membrane: chorion, amnion, allantois and yolk sac. Fourth important point, on the basis of presence of amnion, the vertebrates are broadly classified into 2 categories: amniote and anamniote. An means absent. If amnion is present, then it is called amniote. If amnion is absent, then it is called anamniote. Amniote includes reptiles, apes and mammals, whereas the anamniote includes fishes and amphibians. Okay. Now we will discuss the complete diagram of the extraembryonic membrane, in which we can easily represent the 4 extraembryonic membrane such as chorion, amnion, allantois and yolk sac. So before starting our complete diagram which represents the amnion, chorion, allantois and yolk sac, I want to remind you some portion such as the changes in the outer cell mass and the inner cell mass during the implantation. You know already, so I am not labeling all the labeling. This is your cytotrophoblast. The inner side is the cytotrophoblast. I am not labeling all the thing, you know already. This is the cytotrophoblast and this is the syncytial trophoblast. Okay, and these are the epiblast and the hypoblast. So, as this is the hypoblast and the epiblast, during the movement these come downward, by which a cavity is being formed which is known as the amniotic cavity, in which various trophoblast cells differentiate to form the amniogenic cell, okay, which initiate the formation of the extraembryonic membrane. Hypoblast forms the endoderm portion forming the primary yolk sac. Okay. So now come to the complete diagram of the extraembryonic membrane. Okay, so this one is your, as I've said earlier, this one is your cytotrophoblast, and this one is your, the outer one is your syncytial trophoblast, by which the hypoblast and the epiblast, when comes down during the movement, so the cavity is formed that is called the amniotic cavity, in which the trophoblast cell differentiate to form the amniogenic cell, which initiate the formation of the extra embryonic membrane. The hypoblast forms the endoderm, by which forming the primary yolk sac. Okay, now we will do the complete diagram in which we will represent the four extra embryonic membrane, such as chorion, amnion, allantois and yolk sac. First of all, I will draw the embryo. This one is your embryo. The primary yolk sac region will inwardly fold to form the primary primitive gut, which will in the later portion form into alimentary canal. So the caudal part of the primary yolk sac will eventually develop a pouch-like structure called allantois. Okay, and the remaining part of the primary yolk sac, which will develop into the secondary yolk sac or the definite yolk sac. And the remaining part of the primary yolk sac, which eventually develop into secondary yolk sac or the definite yolk sac, which will, why it is so called? Because now onwards it is able to perform definite function or the vital function. So this is your primary yolk sac. Okay. So now this is your embryo, and the primary yolk sac is folded inward to form the primitive gut, which is later on will form the alimentary canal. The caudal part of the primary yolk sac is developed into a pouch-like structure called allantois, and the remaining part of the primary yolk sac, which develops into secondary yolk sac or the definite yolk sac, which is so called because it will perform now the important or the vital function. Now come to the membrane or the extra embryonic membrane. The extra embryonic membrane, which completely covers the embryo, is called your amnion. The extra embryonic membrane, which will completely cover your embryo region, is called the amnion. Okay, and the total outer extra embryonic covering is called your chorion. Okay, the total outer extra embryonic membrane is known as chorion, having finger-like projection called the chorionic villi. Okay. Now come to the various lining present in the extra embryonic membrane. So before starting the extra embryonic membrane lining, I want to say something, that you should not be confusing between the germ layer that is produced from the epiblast and the germ layer that is produced from the hypoblast. Because in case of embryonic, the extra embryonic germ layer, it produces extra embryonic membrane. Okay, means the allantois, the yolk sac, the chorion and the amnion. But in case of epiblast, it develops the various germ layer or produce various germ layer such as ectoderm, mesoderm and endoderm, from which various organs are being formed, or eventually the whole embryo is being formed from the epiblast. But in case of hypoblast, it forms the extra embryonic endoderm. Okay, you can easily understand, so that I am drawing 3 lines here, so that representing 3 extra embryonic germ layers. Suppose this one is your ectoderm, means the extra embryonic ectoderm. Middle portion is your mesoderm. I am drawing it with the red color. This one is your mesoderm, means extra embryonic mesoderm. Okay, last one, is your endoderm. Okay, means extra embryonic endoderm. Okay, when the extra embryonic ectoderm comes in contact with the extra embryonic mesoderm, then it forms the somatopleuric mesoderm. When the extra embryonic ectoderm comes in contact with the extra embryonic mesoderm, it forms the somatopleuric mesoderm. Somatopleuric mesoderm. Okay, we can write in shortcut ecto plus meso. Okay, when the extra embryonic endoderm comes in contact with the extra embryonic mesoderm, then it is called planknopleuric mesoderm. When the extra embryonic mesoderm comes in contact, it is the planknopleuric mesoderm. When the extra embryonic mesoderm comes with the extra embryonic mesoderm, it is called the splanchnopleuric mesoderm. So now we will draw the lining. First we will discuss the chorion, then we will discuss the amnion. The chorion is laterally or the externally, it is lined with the ectoderm. As I written, the ectoderm represents the black color. The chorion is internally lined with the mesoderm. Mesoderm means we will draw with the red color completely. The chorion is completely internally lined with the mesoderm, which I represent by the red color. Okay, so the chorion, we can say it is externally lined by the ectoderm and internally it is lined by the mesoderm. Next, we will come to the amnion part. Amnion is internally lined with the ectoderm, but it is externally lined by the mesoderm. It is externally lined by the mesoderm. Okay. Okay. Now the third one we'll see the allantois and the primary, the yolk sac. The yolk sac, as I done the diagram with the green color, means green color is for representing the endoderm. So the allantois and the yolk sac is internally lined by the endoderm and externally lined by the ectoderm. Sorry, the mesoderm, by the mesoderm. Okay. Understood? So here the four extraembryonic membrane are, I will label it clearly. This one is your chorion, this one is your amnion, then this one is your embryo, this one is your allantois, this one is your yolk sac. The chorion is being externally lined by the black color region, that is the ectoderm, internally lined by the red color, that is your mesoderm, okay, which is called the somatopleuric mesoderm. Next, the amnion is internally lined by the ectoderm but externally lined by the mesoderm. So it is also called the somatopleuric mesoderm because the ectoderm comes in contact with the extraembryonic ectoderm comes in contact with the extraembryonic mesoderm. Then the allantois and the yolk sac is internally lined by the endoderm and externally by the mesoderm. So in this case, the mesoderm, the extraembryonic mesoderm comes in contact with the extraembryonic endoderm. So in this case, we can say it is the splanchno-pleuric mesoderm. Okay. Now we will label the portions. This one is your chorion. This one is your amnion. Okay. This one is your allantois and this one is your yolk sac. Okay. Acha. Here two cavities are formed. First cavity is in between the chorion and amnion. Okay. So the cavity that is formed in between the chorion and amnion is known as the extraembryonic coelom. It is the extraembryonic coelom. Okay. And the cavity that is formed in between the embryo and the amnion region is called the amniotic cavity. Amniotic cavity. Okay. Next point. The fluid that is present inside the amniotic cavity is known as the amniotic fluid. Amniotic fluid. The function of the amniotic fluid is it acts as a cushion, or we can say it protects the developing embryo. Next, various fetal cells are present inside the amniotic cavity. In detail about the fetal cells we will discuss in later. So these are the fetal cells. Okay. Apart this, there are various chorionic villi are present on the chorion region, okay, which invade into the endometrium lining for the proper establishment. Okay. And this one is your placental chorionic villi. Placental chorionic villi. okay, which invade the endometrium lining and helps in the various nutrient exchange. Placenta means what? It is a firm connection between the mother and the fetus, which helps in exchanging various respiratory gases, and also it helps in eliminating various metabolic waste products. Okay. So this is your complete structure about the extra embryonic membrane. One portion is important, you should remind that the extra embryonic ectoderm is derived from the trophoblast. The extra embryonic mesoderm is derived from the yolk sac, and the extra embryonic endoderm is derived from the hypoblast. So you should not be confusing about the epiblast derived the germ layer which produces the ectoderm, mesoderm and endoderm, which form the various organs of the embryo, eventually forming the complete embryo. But in case of the extra embryonic germ layer, it forms the various extra embryonic membrane such as the allantois, yolk sac, chorion and the amnion. Once again, I want to repeat all the portions. This one is your embryo. The caudal part develops a pouch-like structure called the allantois. The remaining part of the primary yolk sacs develop into the yolk sac, the secondary yolk sac or the definite yolk sac, which is so called because it is now able to perform vital functions. The embryo is surrounded by a complete extra embryonic membrane which is known as amnion. Okay? The amnion, the cavity that is present inside the amnion and the embryo is the amniotic cavity, and it is filled with amniotic fluid which acts as a cushion for the developing embryo, or we can say it helps in protecting the embryo, developing embryo. Second, there are various fetal cells are also present inside the amniotic cavity. Next, the total covering of the extra embryonic membrane is known as the chorion portion. Okay. Next, the chorion also consists of various finger-like process called the placental chorionic villi. Next, come to the lining. If the ectoderm and mesoderm comes in contact to each other, then it is called somatopleuric mesoderm. But if the extra embryonic mesoderm and the extra embryonic endoderm comes in contact with each other, it is known as the splachnopleuric mesoderm. Next, the chorion is laterally or the externally lined by the ectoderm, as I marked with the black color that represents the ectoderm, red color represents the mesoderm and the green color represents the endoderm. The chorion is being externally marked by the line by the ectoderm, and it is internally lined by the mesoderm. Remind this thing. These are important points. Whereas the amnion is externally lined by the mesoderm, but it is internally lined by the ectoderm. Whereas the allantois and the yolk sac are internally lined by the green color that I have shown, the endoderm, but externally it is lined by the mesoderm. Okay? And the various chorionic villi are also present, and the placental chorionic villi which invade into the endometrial lining and also helps in the various nutrient exchange. Whereas the placenta means what? Placenta structure will read in detail in our next class. Placenta means it is a firm connection between the mother and the fetus, which helps in various exchange of the transpiratory gases, and also it helps in elimination of various metabolic waste materials. So this is all about your today's class. In the next class, we will discuss in detail the chorion, amnion, allantois and the yolk sac. Thank you.